Good morning. This is Elaine Wagenka, Certified Zentangle Teacher. We are actually in the Space Before Art, working in our Zentangle Sketchbook. It's a Strathmore drawing pad. I'm using one that's 6x8. And if you are curious about some of my comments in the first video, you would likely go to my website, zendragon.net, and find out about dragon tiles and see what that's all about. But that being said, if you have dragon tiles, we are going to work on the next two patterns of Zentangle. I am taking you through some real basic stuff of Zentangle in a little different format. We're using a sketchbook and we're using a pencil, and we're kind of playing around in this space before art. Okay, so the third tangle, I'm going to put right up here in this space, and it begins with the letter C, and then it curves around and then tucks in right at the end. Now, everybody has a different way of doing this particular pattern. And the way I go at it is I lay down 3 or 4 or 5 of them that kind of miss each other. They're floating around in their own little space, minding their own business. So you just get to practice making that curve. Now you notice I tend to go this way with the curve. There's no rule about which way you go, so if you want to wind it up the other way, you can. But in this next space that you've chosen, I have five little patterns. But what that does is allows me space to add more. So learning what you learned in Holabaugh about drawing behind, we're going to put that into practice. And I'm going to go here, purposely quite close to something, knowing that I'm going to be interrupted. And I squeak by here. I'm interrupted by this line. I lift the pencil, move up, land again, and I'm actually going to end it there. So this is the technique of drawing behind done in a circular fashion. And Zentangle students learn how to do this quite quickly. So we have a pattern, and then we add another pattern, then we tuck it in, and we do it here and we do it there. So let's just wind up another one in here. And I want you to keep in mind that they don't all have to be the same size. So that's another way to make your patterns look more interesting, is to vary the size. So I'm going to tuck a little one right in here, and then right in here. Okay, and it looks like I could use one here. So it looks like I'm kind of landing them in those little tight spaces. And again, there's no done. You just kind of, you notice my voice even hesitates because I get in that space. And it's almost like talking is annoying for me. Not annoying to talk to you, but it's annoying when I'm drawing to try to talk and draw at the same time. Okay, so this pattern is a circular pattern, and it's what I call an organic pattern. Now, the other organic pattern that we already did was Crescent Moon. This is a different one. This is open and loopy and can go to the left or right, big or small. And it has a name. It's called Printemps. Lovely little name, and very difficult if you haven't had French. Well, I don't know, but I think I slaughter it a little bit. So Printemps is the third pattern. So we have Crescent Moon, Holly Ball, and Printemps. So we're going to finish this video with the fourth pattern. Now we're going back, or I'm going back to a straight line pattern that is actually another style of straight line. It's called a grid pattern. So much like Holly Ball, I took off and landed one straight line, but that's where the likeness stops. From this line that I've established, I'm going to go to the right or the left, and I'm going to give myself rather large spaces in between. And they're all going to go, well, at least these are, they're going to go in a parallel direction. Okay? And then I'm going to go 90 degrees to that, and I like to start in the middle so that I can work to the left and the right. Okay, so I establish that one, and then I continue to march to the left and to the right, laying down this, I'm going to sneak one in there, laying down this grid pattern. Okay, so these are called grid patterns. And the pattern itself is called Cubine, and you'll see why in just a second. So the strategy here is to pick open space, and I usually pick one in the middle, and then I can work outwards. And I make a vertical line from corner to corner. And then, at least when I was beginning, it was easier for me to make a small dot in the center of that, or almost in the center. And then establish this. So a vertical and horizontal line, and then color it in. So that's a very detailed way to get to what this looks like. So let me show it to you again. You start with a vertical line, add a dot. When you're just learning this, you can add a dot because your goal is to go halfway down. And then you parallel this line here, and you parallel this line here, and then you color it in. Now, once you get used to doing this, you will start to draw it more quickly. Your mind will make those neural connections and say, oh, I know what I do next. And there'll be this thing. Now, here's an odd shape, and I'm going to pretend that this pattern actually continues here. We just can't see it. So a midline for this unit would be about there. And so this is how we let it disappear off the paper. And this one would just be a vertical line, but I couldn't see anything. It's not deep enough. And this one would go to the intended space here. This would be the center. Okay. And then I just color it in here. Okay, now I'm going to show it to you without the dot, because I've done this over and over enough so that I can do it without, and maybe you can just jump right to that step without the dot. So we're going to continue to make Cubine in these spaces. And I'm kind of coloring all over the place, kind of wonky. I could give you all sorts of like, oh, you should do it this way or you should do it that way, but you know, come on, guys. We're just kind of here to play fun, you know? There's another one up here. Okay, another one here. And another one is going to rest here. And the last one is right there, and it's not enough to continue the pattern below it. So you have the 4 beginning steps of Zentangle, the 4 tangles, crescent moon, hollow ball, Printemps, and Cubine. And I might as well let you know, okay, that what we've just done is a verb. It's called to tangle. The word Zentangle is actually a noun. So when you talk about your process of putting these patterns on paper, you are tangling them rather than drawing them. And the act of it, when it's finished, is the Zentangle process. Okay, so that's the end of my 4 patterns. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to put all of this on your dragon tiles. All right, bye-bye.